All right. Good evening, everyone. This is Brad from iOS Board Games and Board Game Geek, and I'm here with Dave from those same places. Dave, how are you doing tonight?
I'm fine, Brad. Thanks for asking.
Thanks. And if you are joining us live, that's awesome. The main intent of this is actually to be viewed after the fact, so it's all right if you tune in later as well, I think, right?
Sure, it's going to be really exciting, I'm sure. Some people
Super.
want
A
to
lot
sit.
of debate.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like this is the smallest discussion we've had of this since we've been doing this together, actually. I think usually
It
there's a couple more
is.
people, but we've kind of distilled out over the past little while. Uh, but
Well,
yeah, so go ahead, sorry.
no, nothing, nothing. Go ahead. You're in charge.
All
You're the
right.
boss.
I am the host and I will
That's
do what
right.
I want. No. So tonight we're going to be taking a look at, we're going to be discussing some of our favorite games of 2015, and we identified some rather random categories, I guess, that I identified. uh, Mainly, the idea was just to find categories that fit the way this year was, which I think we can both agree was kind of a weird year.
Um, yeah, it was different. It was definitely a strange year for board games on iOS and Android, in the fact that there weren't. I mean, the 2 years before that, we had a huge amount of really quality ones. This year, it was a little tighter. So
Right. Definitely. Just making sure. When you talk, is your audio showing up?
it is. Yeah. Is it
Okay.
not? Are you not hearing me?
I am. Yeah, it must. Okay. It's
Other
showing me an
people aren't.
audio bar, but it might just be showing my amount. Anyway, sorry everyone. Yeah. So yeah, I agree. Like for direct board game ports, it was kind of a weird year, but otherwise, yeah, I think there was quite a bit going on. So the first category we're going to talk about tonight, and this discussion pattern, what we did is we listed out nominees on a Google Doc for each of these categories. Um, uh, this is heavily inspired, I guess, by what Giant Bomb does, which they did this. I don't know, there's a lot more of them, a lot broader discussion, but so ours will be a little bit quicker, I think. But basically, we're going to go through and kind of make a case for each game that we have on our list for the certain category, and then kind of decide a winner and then one runner up, potentially two if we just can't decide on one or there's one that's deserving. So, first category, best
Should probably tell
interactive.
people too, Brad, that if this is way too boring, which I'm guessing it might be, that we are planning on writing up these in post too at some point. So if you prefer to read this, we will be posting like the winners and everything. It's down the road. So
Yeah, that's right. Sorry, that's a really good point. Yeah, I'm going to be writing it up hopefully later this week, and it will go up either later this week or early next week. So yeah, you're right. It won't you won't just have to watch this
yeah,
long discussion, but it may be interesting because we'll talk about some games that probably won't be featured on it, uh, just because there's more nominees than that. But yeah, you're right. So we didn't do a lot of like genre specific awards this year, like we usually have done in the past. But the one that did I thought should stay is best interactive story in RPG, since like that's a really active category, I feel like.
yeah, I would say that's probably like the for me that's like the stuff I play the most now on my iPad is interactive fiction or especially. So a lot of quality stuff coming out.
I totally agree. So let's read through the list of nominees that we have and then just start killing our darlings, I guess. This might be one of the more competitive categories, I think.
Yeah,
But so we've got to be or not to be, Sorcery 3, Part 3, I don't know. Galactic Keep, Her Story, Death Watch, uh, I guess the
Tyranid
full name
Invasion.
is Tyranid Invasion.
Yeah,
Warhammer 40,000 Death Watch Tyranid Invasion. Is that what
yeah,
it is? It's like
that's
two
what it
subtitles.
was. Yes.
And then Transistor, uh, which I added with a question mark because I'm not sure. I mean, it's definitely got RPG mechanics and really good story
And a really big sword. Yeah,
and a really big sword and a really crappy
yeah.
ending. But that's
I didn't get that far, so no
well,
spoilers.
and I feel like it does fit for strategy gamers because really what you're doing is you pause the action and you plan kind of your attacks.
Right.
Um, but maybe us talking about it right now, we can probably cut it. I think it
Well,
did
maybe
start
for
with a
the category at least. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, not overall as a game, but just it's a really great game. I don't think it fits our category exactly. It's kind of more of an action game, but the story is great, sort of, until the end.
Until the
Uh,
ending, which is crappy. Spoiler.
yeah, well, I felt it was poor, but compared to Bastion, the other game from this company, I
Is
felt like
it
it was pretty cool.
I want to know now without spoiling anything. Is it crappy because it's just a bad ending, or is it crappy because bad stuff happens to your character and you didn't like what
Uh,
happened?
I felt like the choices. So in the end of Bastion, you kind of are given a choice, right, as to what you're gonna do.
Yeah, I didn't
Um,
finish it out either. You're
Come on, it's like a 5 hour game. No, basically, you're given a choice of what you're going to do. With Transistor, you don't get a choice, and I feel like
oh,
the choice the main character makes kind of undercuts her character throughout the rest of the
okay.
game.
All right. So it's a badly written ending. You're
In
saying
my opinion, I mean, it wasn't poorly. I don't know. I just didn't like how it ended. It probably
okay.
was. The writing was fine, but
Gotcha.
wow, the viewer count is bouncing
Are we
radically.
rocketing up to one?
Up to like 10 and then down and then
Really?
up and then
Oh
down.
wow.
Cool. So we're down to
Wow.
5 now.
Oh man, the pressure's on now. Jeez.
Is there anything else? I mean, I guess from a story slash RPG point of view, I don't know. Do you suggest one that can go?
Well, I this is going to be terrible, but I have not played Galactic Keep, so I can't have any opinion on Galactic Keep. So I know that it's very good. I just have not gotten around to actually loading it up and playing it yet. So, so if you want to keep Galactic Keep, by all means, tell us why it should be there, Brad.
Should defend it. You know, I've played some Galactic Keep. I also have not got deep into it. But I think from a mechanical point of view, I think it's really cool. From a story point of view, and again, this isn't necessarily best story category, but you know, I think an interactive story should have a cool-ish story to it.
Okay. Is
I don't
that
know if it's
more
as strong in that area,
is it
but
more
it
combat
definitely,
oriented?
yeah,
Okay.
and and kind of like reaction stuff. I don't know. It's really interesting. I mean, yeah, I mean, I definitely have more favorites than this on this list, so I'm
Yeah.
okay with cutting it as
All
well.
right.
All right, I'm hitting
So
the button. All
all
right.
right.
Okay, so we're down to 4. To be or not to be, sorcery
So
3,
of
per
those
story. I mean,
three, or of those four, I'm going to tell you that there's a clear one that doesn't belong of those four. And to me, it's Death Watch, Tyranid Invasion. But
I agree.
I know it's an RPG, but I don't know. I tried it. I played a little of it. It was good, but I don't know. I didn't like it as much, nearly as much as any of the other three on the list. So
Yeah, I mean, I think it's got a great look, and like it takes a lot of like what Warhammer Quest did well, but I kind of like Warhammer Quest more than this. It hooked me more than this game did.
well, I like the theme of Warhammer Quest a lot more than I do the 40,000 theme
That's
by
true
far,
too.
but
Just
that's just me. So,
they're both super dark, but like I feel like in 40,000, like your life is just pain and you live in that world.
yeah, yeah. Warhammer Fantasy is dark, but it also has kind of a funny side to it as well. And this, you know, there's no humor in 40K, so
Right.
um, at least not that I've ever seen. I'm sure someone's out there yelling at something that hilarious, but um, so
So
anyway, the
some,
other three, I would say the other three are above and beyond that one in this category. So
all right, bomb it. All right, so now this gets really hard.
now it gets tough. Yeah, these three games were all pretty excellent. So um,
So I have the bizarre disadvantage of not having played her story yet, uh,
okay,
which I know is kind of blasphemy to have not
yeah,
had
you
that
should.
game yet.
You really should because it's pretty awesome. The thing is, though, is I don't know that I would really call it an interactive story. It's definitely not RPG. And the thing is you are not when I think of interactive story, I think of more where you're the protagonist in the story.
Right.
In her story, you're not. You're just the voyeur watching something that's happening. The story never changes. You can't make any changes to the story. I would say her story is almost more of a puzzle game where you're trying to figure out something rather than actually working, to change a
Mm.
story. Or so from that standpoint, in this category, I would say that it definitely the other two fit the category better than her story does. Um, Not that her story is not awesome, but it might show up later in another category.
Right.
Uh,
Do we want to keep it as like I mean, we could do a second runner up even if we wanted to, but I
yeah,
don't know.
we could.
Or
I mean,
or do we want to?
you make the rules, Brad. No one's gonna
I'm just gonna make them.
no one's gonna fire you. So
I'm just
we
gonna
usually
make
do
them.
gold and silver. We could definitely throw in a bronze if we wanted to. I don't think anyone would care. There
But
are Olympics this year, so
I
let's
mean,
throw
I
it.
do think like in terms of just like Sorcery 3 is is really well done. It's probably like they took what they learned in 80 days, right, and made
Yes,
like an even better sorcery game than the ones that were already well done.
correct.
And uh and I feel like to be or not to be is really strong. It's kind of one of the only Tin Man games ones that I've played through multiple times, just wanting to see every storyline that's in it because they're all really funny.
They are, and I still want to collect all the art, and I'm still missing like I don't know 10 pictures maybe, and it's driving me crazy.
Because you have to
So
follow the right line to get
yeah,
there.
you have to get to the end to get the picture, and it's yeah, if you don't go the right way, then so. But yeah, to be or not to be is absolutely brilliant. So I would say the big fight here for the top is between those two, and
I agree.
boy, I don't know.
You know, man, I don't know. The only, I mean, because I'm just looking for a way to split these two up, I feel like because to be or not to be so original, it feels
Okay.
fresher to me than sorcery does. But
True. That said, like you said, the sorcery game is completely different than the previous sorcery games.
it's
It's
true.
unlike any book interactive fiction book I've read, where you can use those towers to change time and you're time traveling and you get to go. It's like basically an open world game book, if that makes any sense, which it doesn't make any sense. Game books aren't supposed to be open world, but they figured out a way to do it where you can go back and forth and all over, and the story changes and keeps moving forward, and um,
Yeah.
it's pretty crazy. So, but you're right. To be or not to be is completely original, and
Well, now you've
it,
got me waffling the other way. I don't know.
I just saw something rotten in New York, and that's about Shakespeare too. So I think we need to go with the Shakespeare one. I'm on a
I
Shakespeare
think
kick
so.
right now. Yeah, so uh, anything that satire is Shakespeare, we should stick with right now. So
But I think you're
um,
really right about Sorcery 3. I mean, in terms of just the scope of it,
it is. It is. I mean, it seriously. Like I went into it expecting, okay, it's gonna be. I know the book. I have the actual game book, the paperback. I know it. I was expecting that because that's what the other two were,
right?
and I was like, 3 steps into it where I was like, wait, this is nothing like the game book. They totally went off book and changed it, and it was kind of blew my mind. Um,
You know what? Maybe do we want to agree to that one?
wow, I really turned you that hard to sorcery.
Well, I mean, I really like to be or not to be, but I think in terms of just like how not it's not measures of how much is there, but just like you're right. I mean, Sorcery 3 is more than just a game book. It's something else
That's
entirely.
true. And if you, and not that we should take this into account for award stuff, but if you play it all the way through from Sorcery 1, it's even better and like totally mind
Yeah.
blowing and stuff. So I'm sure I'm fine with doing that. And to be
All
or not
right.
to be a silver,
I'm bolding it, and then we can delete her story, which is amazing game, but maybe not the
it is.
best fit for our type
Yeah,
of categories.
if you haven't played To Be or Not to Be, it's highly recommended. It's funny and smart and replayable, which is weird for a game book that you want to keep going back through it and through it and through it and picking weird paths, even though you know they're gonna kill you or whatever, but you still want to see what happens just to see the result. So
right. And you know the story, but they kind of turn it on its head and mock it in a lot of ways.
Yes, yeah,
Can
yeah.
you even be like Ophelia at some
You can
point?
play as Ophelia, and you can play as Claudius, I believe.
Oh,
So,
right.
and there's, yeah, I played as him, and I think it took one page. It was, and it was, yeah, it was interesting. So,
All
um,
right. I think
yeah,
we got it.
it's great. All right, fine.
Cool.
Stop talking. All
No,
right.
no. So next category. Well, I just don't want to keep you too long. I know it's later for you. Uh, best PC port. So what this means is there's been a lot of great PC, I guess, like strategy games is the best word for them. I don't
Yeah,
know. Games
yeah,
that fit our purview that were ported this year. We've had like FTL in the past, but there was just a ton of them
XCOM.
this year. Oh yeah,
Yeah, it
XCOM.
seemed like that was kind of this was the year of, as we were rating what games, it was, oh, and this is ported, and this is ported,
I feel
and
like we played these more than
yeah.
almost than board game ports this year in some ways.
Um, yes, I would agree with that. Yes.
Trying to put it soft. I was like trying to put it right softly. But so let's try to read the list.
Yeah, read the list.
Okay. I have some clear favorites on here, but Heroes of Might and Magic 3, Legends of Grimrock, Don't Starve, This War of Mine, Dungeons of the Endless, Final Fantasy 7, and Desktop Dungeons. So I definitely have a softball one that we could take off
Okay,
first
which
if we want. I just wanted to give it a little attention for a second.
which one?
Oh, Final Fantasy 7. I feel like you know, it was sort of a PC port. I mean, it was a PC port of a PlayStation game. Uh, so it's pretty far. But no, I just feel like, the reason I put it on there is because as a kid, I could never beat that game. I just didn't have the time or the ability to get through it. But what I loved for old men like me is they put in like ways to turn off all the encounters and power up all your characters, so you can just walk through the game basically
So you can
and see
cheat.
the story. Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So I
nice.
really appreciated that, but I don't think it's going to hold a candle to the rest of the stuff on this list. So go ahead and get rid of that
I'm not. I have not played it, so I will not argue with you on that one. So
one. Okay, I'm a Final Fantasy fan, but
I am not. So
all right. Is there anything else that stands out as
well, I from everything I hear, the game is fantastic, but I have not played it, and that would be Dungeon of the Endless. So, um,
Yeah, I played it a bit, but I couldn't get deep into it. I mean, I really like the rest of their games, and I'm sure this one's great. I think it
yeah,
just happened to come out like right at the same time as this War of Mine and Don't Starve, and I
it
feel like
was, yeah, and it's a weird game too, where it's got very weird mechanics that so you can't just jump in. It definitely like has a learning curve to try to figure out how things work, and I didn't have time and whatever, and I just never got the chance to go back to it. So,
right.
so anyway, so it's not the game's fault. That's my fault, but I don't want to vote for something that I haven't played. So,
All right. Um, so of the rest of these, I guess it's my turn to throw one up.
yeah,
I would say
fair. Don't
what?
be fair.
Okay, okay. Um, so this game is a really good game. The one I'm gonna throw up here, just to start
Oh,
out with. But no, I'm not. I'll let you battle that one out later. But I feel like this War of Mine. Uh, I just, in terms of my enjoyment this year, I understand that game and appreciate it for what it is. But in terms of just me getting into it, I find it really challenging, just because of how kind of dark the subject matter is.
depressing it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And the first half of my year, well, a lot of my year I wasn't in a great place. So like stuff that depressed me was not stuff I was looking
That
for.
I was in the same boat. So it was short lived on my iPad. I couldn't handle it. So which is probably a good sign. I mean, I think that's what they're trying to get out of you.
Right.
Um,
And when
but
I'm in
yeah,
a more happy place, I'm ready to have someone depress me, but if that makes sense. So I don't know. I feel like we can, and for us, this was not one
all
of the
right,
best PC ports. Okay.
all right. So I got to throw one up there then.
Yeah, we can do it this way because I don't know how else to.
I would, I mean, I would say as much as I love the game, I don't think the port was perfect, and that would be Heroes of Might and Magic 3. Um, oh boy, ooh, all
Ah,
right, we're gonna get some
no,
wrangling
no.
on this one. Good.
Well, so for me, this is by far one of the games I played the most this year, like
Really? Okay.
any
All right.
any
Cool.
platform.
All
But
right.
that doesn't mean it's the best. It's definitely not the best port.
It was cool, but I just I guess the problems I had with the port were enough that I still have it on my laptop, and I will load it up on there before I'll load it up on my iPad. So,
I mean,
um,
it has crashing issues. It has like
right.
it's totally. I agree. So all right.
Uh, well, no, no, here's the deal. It's an awesome game. It's of the four games left, it definitely would be probably one or two for me just in terms of gameplay.
Mhm.
But I think just the port was very much a they didn't try to make it a separate game. It was basically here's the PC game, but now it's on your iPad, and it still had some of the wonky stuff from the PC version, which I think you have to knock when they port a game from PC if they don't make it work on a touchscreen and make everything
That's
shine.
totally fair. So I will. I'll yield. I think it's a really great game, and if you want to, like, you and I have talked about this for years. Like, can we just please play Might and Magic
Yeah.
on our iPads?
Yes.
And it delivered that, not in a great, like you said, not in a
It
great
did.
way, but you
Right.
could do it if you
You could.
persevere.
Oh, I played several games of it on there. It got me all the way on the flight from here to San Francisco. I played nothing but Heroes of Might and Magic on my iPad, and it was awesome. But um, I just think compared to the other three, I think the other three actually took time to change stuff and make it work on a touchscreen. And uh, so I would say of the four, that one just doesn't cut it as a port. So
All right, I I can see that. Um, so if I have to throw up the next one, I mean, we're down to three, right? So it's basically eliminating one.
it's illuminating one, and I think I know which one you're gonna take. So, but
Well,
go ahead.
I enjoyed Desktop Dungeons, but I played the other two of these. I feel like I enjoyed the other two of these more than that one. Uh, though I could, so for me, I can put out number one for me is Legends of Grimrock.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that took me by surprise.
I
Okay.
played a lot of. I mean, I like Don't Starve, but I've always found Don't Starve like really challenging. Like
Oh yeah, it's super hard.
only
Yeah.
some of the runs do you actually have any chance of actually surviving, or
Yeah.
like you run the wrong direction and you're like, oh, there's nothing over here, I guess I die.
Yeah. Which is yeah. I like that. But
Yeah,
okay.
no, I like that too. I'm not criticizing it, but I found it easier to get into Legends of Grimrock, which I know
Okay.
is pretty old school.
Legends of Grimrock is a great game. Um I'm just totally shocked by this. All right.
what,
I
what did you think I was
so
going to go out for?
I thought for sure you were gonna knock out Grimrock. Actually,
Oh no,
I didn't picture that. I didn't picture that being your kind of game.
I
Straight up.
somehow
So
got into it. I don't know.
okay.
I don't know. It worked. Like it's got me through flights, just like similar to
Right.
Heroes. But anyway,
Um, well, okay. So desktop dungeons, you want to kick off? I absolutely love desktop dungeons. Um, but I can see it's definitely a acquired taste. I think I hated the game when I first played it. Oh my god, did I hate it? I hated it more than anything. And I was supposed to write a review about it, and I simply hated it from the get go. And then all of a sudden it started to click, and I realized that this is not a roguelike dungeon crawl. This is a puzzle game. And I fell in love with it, and it was incredible. That said,
that's a valid argument. I mean,
that's
I don't think I'd be willing. I don't like. Is there something else you want to battle
no,
instead?
no. I mean, I would for me, Desktop Dungeons and Legends of Grimrock are on a level there. I was gonna have a hard time picking between those two.
Hmm.
For me, Don't Starve is the winner in this one, but
I could I could agree to that. I mean, we could keep both as we could do two runners up in this case, I guess.
no, that's all right. I think I would say of the actual port. So I mean, if I knocked out Heroes of Might and Magic. I would say Desktop Dungeon suffers from some of that a little bit.
Mm.
Not really.
Not to the
They
same extent at all, but
Yeah, they did change stuff and they made it very usable on iPad. But I'm just you look at the Grimrock and Don't Starve and I mean Desktop Dungeons looks like an 8-bit. It looks, like an
right,
old game. It's just which is the way the game is. It's not ripping on the game, but
right.
um I guess I, Legends of Grimrock and Don't Starve, you show that to someone on your iPad, I think it kind of blows their mind that you're playing Don't Starve on your iPad, whereas Desktop Dungeons looks like it should be on an iPad, I guess. So,
Right.
I don't know. So I'm fine keeping Grimrock and Don't Starve, and we don't have to make Don't Starve the best. If you, I mean,
No, I think I agree with you. I think in terms of like, it's amazing how they made that game work on iPad. A lot like FTL managed to do it. I feel like they managed to
yeah,
do it as well.
that's true.
So
Uh,
I totally agree with you. I mean, I find Don't Starve really difficult, like I said, but that's not because I don't like it. It's just
yeah,
it's
well, it is really difficult. Yeah, but once you get like that, your little place built and stuff, it's just awesome.
yeah, it's
It's
so that sense of achievement is like
it
amazing.
is it is. So, all right, well then let's kill Desktop Dungeons and leave those
Okay,
alone.
we're halfway done and at a half hour, so we're right on
All
time.
right, right on time.
Though I
Is
think
anyone
best
still
old
watching
game.
this, or have they all fallen asleep?
We've got 3 viewers.
Nice.
One of
Thanks, Mom. Hi, Mom. How are you?
it's all right. We'll be putting it up later. Again, the goal was to just record this so that we could put it up later, not necessarily have people watch live, though. Why not if they're around?
Sure.
Okay, so next category for tonight is
Achievement in design.
yeah.
I think. All right.
So
This
I
is
could give you
tough.
my muddled explanation of this, or
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just
I think. All right. Go ahead.
like just the game, not just like that looks the best, but like overall, like has a cohesive look and feel through the whole thing. Like
Okay.
has good style. I'd also put 2 board games that are only on not mobile right now. So I don't know if
Yeah, I was
we can
wondering
do
about
that.
that.
Uh, yeah, I was going to talk to you before we started about that, but I did not. But I mean, we can just decide right now if we want to lose them. If we want to, I mean, like honestly, well, so the 2 games that I put on there are Armello and Heroes of Normandy. In my opinion, Armello is like one of the best looking games ever made,
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah.
But I don't know if we want to honor it next year when it comes to iPad. Uh,
Yeah. I guess. Um. I mean, yeah.
Probably.
I think we should probably keep this to mobile stuff. I'm guessing, and
Okay,
otherwise, there's a lot of
that's true. That's true.
other stuff we could throw in there. So
Yeah, I guess I just put ones that were actual board
board
games, but
games, yeah, that's
and
true.
then Heroes of Normandy looks really cool what they did with like the board game pieces exploding. But again, we'll talk about
I
that more
haven't,
next year.
yeah, I have not played it, so that's
It's a
one. I was kind of
I don't know,
waiting
if you're a
for it to
Memoir
come out.
44 fan, it's pretty.
Yeah, I've heard it's great and stuff. It's just one of those like, oh, it's coming out on iPad. I'll wait till it comes out. So I just haven't played it at all on PC. So
All right, so we have a smaller list now, so I'll read off what we have now that I
yeah, I'm
removed. If there's anything else we think we should add here.
curious about some of these. All right,
So I've got Chesh,
yeah, trash.
Coup, Laura Croft Go, Transistor, which I put another question mark, and Her Story. Uh, so yeah, that's a pretty small list. It should be a pretty quick one.
It is. So
But
why did you put Cheshire there? I'm just curious.
so uh, I feel like overall it's got like a cool aesthetic, like those crazy
The
8-bit
crazy
pieces
shapes
or
and all that.
whatever,
Yeah.
and just the whole flow of like everything kind of bouncing up and the stuff behind. I don't know. Just it's a small game, but I thought it was done
Okay.
well.
All right. I can
But
see that.
we can
No, let's leave it on there for now. Let's
okay.
talk about your next addition on there. And
Coup.
Coup. I know you like Coup.
Okay.
And I thought it was fine. It was a fine game. Um, what about the graphic look of it did you like? I mean, I
So
guess I didn't think it stood out. Well, I guess I shouldn't say that. Go ahead. You
Okay,
tell us why you like
so
it. No,
I feel
that
like
way around.
the okay, so I feel like the illustrations were great of all the characters, and the animations in those were really well done. I also felt like the entire like interface was really cohesive, um, and also I just think the way they developed kind of the online system was actually pretty well done in terms of like it had one major flaw, which was a game could start and you could just lose it because you weren't around to take your turn because it just
Right.
went without you. Um, but in terms of look and feel, I feel like it of all the board game ports that came out this year was the most cohesive and beautiful, and also a good game underneath.
Okay.
Like I feel like we could have like Brass on this list. Like I thought Brass looked really cool, but in the end, I just found it really hard to get into that game, even though it looked great.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely not a gateway game by any stretch. And I think the multiplayer on that one kind of knocked it down a peg too. The fact that it was, uh, well, it wasn't perfect. So obviously it didn't have the best complete package, which is what this thing's looking for.
Yeah.
All right.
So I don't want
Okay.
to lose
So
it
you got me
yet.
in coup. No, we're good. All right. So
Well,
let's keep go down to your next one because this is one I haven't played.
okay.
I played
So
Hitman Go, but I've not played Lara Croft Go. So are they similar? Is it the same kind of deal?
so it's a similar concept, except um, so in Hitman Go, you're usually trying to assassinate someone, and it was like a board game. Like
Yeah.
everyone was like a pawn, and you're trying to get behind them so you can kill the pawn. Uh, with Laura Croft Go, you're trying to get like through the temple and different things, and it's kind of it's a little more actiony. Like she's not a
Okay.
pawn; she moves around, but she's still in like the abstracted style.
Okay.
Um, and it's a board of nodes where you're moving, and there's enemies that you fight. But just overall, like it took um, what Hitman Go did and then kind of brought it into a more interactive world, I guess.
Okay.
And I liked that overall. But I mean, if you haven't played it, I don't know. It's a
I
really good
should. I
game as well.
Yeah.
But
I we had several people recommend it over at PT too, so I know it's one that I should play. I just haven't gotten around to it. Um.
so we can keep
All right.
talking. Do we talk
Yeah.
about the next one too? I
Well, Transistor is
mean, it's a pretty
beautiful.
game.
It's
I
very
feel like it's a little
pretty.
outside of our scope, maybe. So I feel if there's one that we can easily eliminate, I could
Okay.
do that one.
I would say that that's fine. I found the combat in Transistor to be like I wasn't super excited about it,
Yeah,
but that's me. I know other people liked it a lot, but um her story, I guess that's you haven't played it, so I have
yeah.
to say what that is.
I want to hear, especially in terms of design. Here,
Well, the cool thing is basically this is it's it's a movie. That's the whole game. That's all it is a movie. But the design set they created like a your iPad looks like an old PC screen, complete with icons that you can click on and check things out on the desktop. You can move stuff around the desktop. I mean, it looks just like an old Windows, Windows 95-ish style PC screen. Um, it's got cool like way you can um, the videos are all on the center screen, whatever, blah blah blah. But the thing that tipped me off, okay, this whole game's about like atmosphere and um, and there's no music or anything. All you hear is like the hum of the PC the whole time. But every now and then, like the lights will flicker in the room,
oh gosh,
and you will see a reflection kind of yourself on the screen watching this TV, but it's not you. It freaked me out. The first time it
oh
happened,
wow,
it was like, what is and it scared the hell out of me. And then every time it would happen before, it was like, it was just the coolest thing. So anyway, just the fact that there was a game that gave me that kind of a immersion and like I was totally absorbed in it, and it actually had the ability to freak me out, even though all I was doing is watching full motion video from like 1992. um, yeah, I thought it was just a cool package how everything fit together, and the game part of it. There's no here are the rules. Here's what you do. Nope, it's just you're at a PC, figure it out on your own, and
mm.
go from there. So I don't know. I just thought the whole package was was cool. I mean, it just very was it was absorbing. So
I can see that. I can get on board with that. Again, I feel super deficient for having not played this game that everyone is talking about. Uh, so so I think that's a really good case. I think we can cut Chesh out. I'd be willing to give that one away right now.
um, okay. I mean, that's. I mean, I like your argument. I mean, it is cool. I guess I just didn't think about it because of the look of it. I guess, but
Right.
I mean, that was the whole point of the game. So
I see what you're
it's
saying
one of
though.
those.
I think it's a great game, but it's also kind of like it's a very kind of time waster game, and I feel like it's harder to say it's the complete package when the package is so
Okay.
small. That sounds
Okay.
innuendo, but
Yeah,
uh,
but I think Ku has that issue as well. Because I mean, Ku is there's not a lot of meat there. I mean, that's a 5 minute game, pretty
yeah,
much.
I guess my main argument behind Coup is like if you're going to make a board game port next year,
Yeah.
you should look at Coup. Just like last year, you should have looked at I don't know, like Hearthstone, or something like that, or Lords of Waterdeep. Like I feel like it's that level of well
Okay.
done.
All right. All right. Well,
So
then let's keep Ku.
okay,
And I'm fine if you think Lara Croft Go is up there. I mean, I'm fine with
well,
keeping that. That's
I feel like you made a really good case for her story, and I mean Lara Croft Go is really good and it looks better than Hitman Go, but it also is heavily inspired by Hitman Go. So it's not as surprising as something like her story, if that makes sense. Because it's like it is what it was before,
okay.
just Lara Croft. It's they've moved beyond that. Like they didn't stay stagnated, but like
Yeah.
uh I don't know. I I'm okay with Ku and her story as the two. And I don't know
Okay.
who wins of
Then
those two,
put
but
put Ku in the gold
you think
category.
so?
Yeah.
All right. I'm just
You have a
trying to
good point
like
for it. I mean, it is a well done port, and they did make a game that I didn't see how they could possibly make it work on mobile. They made it work on mobile. So,
And I thought those
um,
chat packs were even funny, even though they were like a cash in. I thought they were pretty hilarious. The chat packs that you pay for.
yes, that you buy. Yeah, I know, and I ended up buying a couple of them, which should tell you that the game is good enough to sucker me in for that. So,
All right, last category for tonight, and then we'll be back on Thursday, is best old game. What we meant by this category was like best game that didn't come out in 2015 that we ended up playing a lot of this year anyway, for whatever reason.
yeah.
And yeah, and uh, I added quite a few of these. I think some of them might leave pretty quickly, but I just want to talk about why they keep staying on my iPad for so long. But I don't know. Do
Yeah.
you have one you want to start with that you
I want
enjoy,
to kick off of there. I
or
would
maybe?
say the game on this list that I don't even know what it is Olo. So you need to tell me about
Okay.
Olo.
Oh, I should probably read the list first. I totally forgot.
Oh, well,
Uh,
that's true.
the list we have is Hearthstone, Talisman, Galaxy Trucker, Lords of Waterdeep, 80 Days, Pandemic, Olo, That's My Fish, and Sentinels of the Multiverse. Um, yeah, so Olo I threw on here. I don't think it's going to contend with any of our other
Okay, I don't
games.
think I've ever heard of it, so I'm just curious that what is Brad playing? This is freaking me out
So
a
I've
little
had
bit.
it for a while. It's like Crokinole, sort of, I guess. You're
Oh,
sliding discs on the iPad, and you're trying
okay,
to land it in their side of the field, which you score points in, and they can knock it out with their disc. It's a really great game for kids. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's skill involved if you're an adult, but you know, there's also a lot of luck
yeah,
involved
okay,
because you're trying to read fake physics, basically, which is
right,
not
right.
always easy. Um, so yeah, I don't think it's going to hold up to these games on this list. So I'm happy to let it go. I just wanted to mention that it's something that I've played. I think I've had it for 2 years now, and it ends up getting
You
played
still play it? Oh, that's
every
cool.
time I'm in a car with a kid that's bored. That's what we play. So
I forgot one too.
okay. Oh, really? Wait. Okay. Hold on. I feel so. you have to explain this. I mean, I love this game. I loved it, but I feel like I played it and finished it. But I'm just curious why it's on your list for this year.
Well, I have not played it this year, but I have a 5-year-old who will play this game every time he gets my iPad, no matter what. He doesn't care. He
So, what
plays.
game is this again?
Well, he calls it Wheels of Fortune, but it's Leo's Fortune.
Wheels of Fortune.
Yeah, that's what he calls it, Wheels of Fortune. But it's Leo's Fortune. It's a platformer. Your little puffy dude with a
Green Day.
mustache, and yeah, just floating around, and it has a cool mechanism where you can puff yourself up to kind of slow your descent, or to let you jump higher because you're lighter and stuff. It's fun. I mean, I played a ton of it when it came out and basically finished it, and then I've been done with it. But my kids, especially my 5-year-old, seriously, this game gets more play than anything in my house right now. So I know it's not going to win, but I just, like you said, it was one of those like, well, it should probably at least get
Talked
mentioned
about.
because it is a pretty awesome game for. I mean, even graphically and everything, it's a pretty amazing game to have on an iPad. It's my favorite platformer that they've on the iPad. And I don't usually play platformers, but I did like that one. So
Well, and that one's it's well done for the iPad. Like, right, the controls are really well done.
yeah, the controls were great. I mean, it worked. Yeah, you could totally. Yeah, um, you never had a problem where it was the iPad that was fighting you. It was why you couldn't get through something. It was just a devious design that was, you know. So yeah, it's a really good game. But if my 5-year-old is voting in this, he would vote for Wheel of Fortune. So
And that's not
or
even on the
sorry,
list. So, no, I'm just
Leo's Fortune.
kidding.
So
All right. That's a good case. And I think a similar case for me, I don't know if That's My Fish still gets played by
I
a lot.
don't know. I haven't
No.
played that in ages. No,
So I don't play it by myself, but it's again one that people request every time
really. Okay.
we're in like a road trip type situation or something. Um, I don't know, just great family kids game. It's really understandable. It's still, holds up after 4 years or
Yeah,
something.
at least. Yeah, that's been on forever. Yeah.
So, but I'll,
What is
I'll
it?
take it off. I just wanted to mention that it's one that still gets played on my. The reason I even came up is because I was like, oh, the way I'm going to make this list is I'm going to go on my iPad and my iPhone and figure out what games I still have open because I never close any of my stuff, and that was
Oh,
one that was pretty high on the list. But um, all right, so now I feel like it gets a little harder. Um,
it does. I've played. Well, there's actually like one game on here that I've not played this year that I
which
know I
one
will
is
play.
that?
That would be Lords of Waterdeep. I don't know. Yeah,
Go ahead.
compared to other board games, it's not the app's fault. The app is amazing. It's one of the best board game apps there is. It's more the problem of the game. I just
Mm.
kind of got bored of the game itself, so I just don't bring it out anymore.
Yeah, it's one that's come up a little bit this year. I put it on because I don't know. Think I had it open again, but yeah, I think compared to a lot of these things, it's a really great game, and I
It
actually
is.
still like the board game, and I actually played that a couple of times this year, which is weird.
Okay.
But
Yeah, I
uh,
sold my copy of the actual cardboard version, so I don't have that anymore either. So
I'm a filthy
um,
casual though, so I
you
feel
are.
like
That's what
yeah.
I always say about you
So I'll
behind your back.
get rid of that one.
But the
Oh,
rest,
now it
the
gets
rest
hard.
I've played. Yeah, the rest of these I've played. So
I mean, for me, I feel like I could nominate for cutting Pandemic.
yeah, that's true. But the only reason that is because for me at least is now that I'm playing Pandemic Legacy, I don't want to go back and play regular Pandemic anymore.
Right.
So that's really the problem is just the Pandemic Legacy's out now. So the app is like, I'd
So
rather.
it's the publisher's fault though,
It is. It's
altogether, right? It's
their
like a
own
mix.
fault. So
Okay. No,
um,
I think it's a great game and one that I think I'll continue to play. But this year, probably because of Pandemic Legacy, it just yeah, the latter half of the year I've not played it as much as the first half.
yeah, and they just came out with the what do they call them? Oh,
Expansion.
yeah, it's part of the On the Brink expansion. They added a new part like 2 weeks
Oh,
ago.
right, right.
But it's where the epidemic cards all do something crazy, and I can't remember what it's called. But so it's a shame because they
Virulent
keep adding
strain.
some new stuff. Yeah, mutant strain. Maybe that's it. Yeah,
Mutant strain, yeah, or virulent
virulent. Yeah,
strain.
virulent strain, something like that. So it's a shame because I keep adding to it, and I should go back and play it, but I really just, if I'm gonna do that, I'd rather pull out Legacy and get my kids in and keep playing our game of Legacy. So,
Exactly, which
um,
I'm halfway through. I'm still in June, I think.
yeah, we haven't played in a long time. I think we're still in April. So
Yeah, I want to finish that and buy time stories. Uh,
I have Time Stories. I'm saving it. So
you're saving because it's like a one time.
it's like
Anyway,
a one-time shot. So I'm waiting for that perfect group to play it with. Yeah.
so are we okay to cut this?
Yeah. Cut pandemic.
Okay, so let me reiterate the list just so because it's about half the size it was before. We've got Hearthstone, Talisman, Galaxy Trucker, 80 Days, Sentinels of the Multiverse.
Yeah. Oh boy.
So, do you want to call one up that I might have to defend? No, I don't know.
Well, they're all. I think no matter which one of us calls one up, it's gonna get defended here. I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the one I would say that I've probably played the least on here, and it's kind of shocking to me that I'm gonna say it, is Hearthstone.
Hmm.
Um, and really, it's just, you know, I'm old, and the game's passed me by. So it's really the problem with it. I played it a bunch when the solo adventure came out. The wow, what was it called? Oh, I can't think. This
Legends
is
of
part of me getting old.
something Explorers,
Explore
Legendary
League of
Explorers, or
Explorers,
something.
yeah,
League of
yeah.
Explorers.
I
Yeah,
played that in the solo, but getting back into like the meta, and now that there's so many cards and stuff, I feel like it's overwhelming. So I'm just not able to get back into the. And I know I should just net deck and just do it, but um,
so if it means anything, last month I did not get the card back, which means I did not even play. So I usually play the whatever it's called, the dang it, so unprepared. The kind of weekly challenge thing that they do,
the Tavern Brawl,
the Tavern Brawl. I usually
yeah,
do that almost every week. It's a good thing to
yeah.
do while feeding my son in the middle of the night. But um, it's yeah, I don't want to see it go so soon. But
Well, I know it's such a great game, and that's the thing. I still love the game. It's just, and I still like will listen to podcasts about it and whatever. But
yeah,
like then I sit down and I like trying to figure out the new meta with all these cards, and it's just like I can't. My brain doesn't work like that anymore. It was easy when it was like one expansion and stuff, but really
yeah,
it was since Goblins versus Gnomes, and that came out in 2014.
right. Yeah, I mean,
And that really, once that hit, it started to get to a point where it was hard for me to keep track. And then they just added what, three expansions last year, and it's to the point where I'm like, all right,
yeah, too many expansions and one large expansion.
yeah. So
Yeah,
it's just gone past me. I like the mini ones. I love doing the solo stuff on there, and because that's like a puzzle, and those are fun. But
right.
I mean, 2014, I was playing Hearthstone constantly online, ridiculous amounts of Hearthstone. So
Well,
um,
let's leave it
let's
for a
leave it for
second.
now. All right,
For a
yeah, let's leave
second.
it.
So the one your cursor's on right now
The one you want to get rid of. All
is a
right, I'm
game
fine with
that
that.
I hate.
I know you
It's a
hate
game
it.
that I found a hard time getting
Getting
into
into, yeah,
ever. But I know it's I know one, I know that sorry, we're talking about Sentinels of the Multiverse. And one, they've supported it amazingly the entire
yes,
year and will
yes,
continue to support it. The multiplayer expansion came out this year. Uh, Many just content packs, right, have come out.
yeah, yeah.
So in terms of game that was like best supported, it definitely is there. So maybe it deserves to stay for that. Um, what are what are your feelings on it?
I like it because it's my go-to solo like brain burner game. That it's deeper than something like
Any of the
I don't
rest of
know,
these?
like I used to like do threes or stuff like that, like the kill time and just whatever. Now like I'll load up a thing of Sentinels and play it because it lets me think, and it's it feels like a board game, and it but I can play it by myself, which is nice. The multiplayer expansion is great and it's nice and everything, but I still would prefer to just play solo. So,
Yeah,
so that really didn't affect me that much. But I don't know. It's just one of those games that it's still on my iPad. I still load it up and I'll still play it. So, but I can definitely see. I know, God, I know there's a lot of people who don't like it.
Well, but that's not
So
a reason. I mean, this is you and I, right? I think from
our
a
three listeners,
oh,
our
and
listeners. How many do we have? Is anyone
well,
left?
they've been going back and forth. It goes up and down and up and
All
down.
right.
I won't tell you the number right now, but
Oh, good.
uh, no, I'm just kidding. But I feel like let's leave it for. I guess we can leave it for a minute because uh, okay, I'll offer up one of my darlings, and I'll just mention that this is a game that I play almost every time I get on an airplane. Uh, Not this last airplane because I was working on the flight, which is not as fun as playing Talisman the entire time. But I found Talisman a really easy one where you just don't really want to think about anything, but you kind of
Yeah.
want some light choices.
Yes.
Uh,
We're not taking Talisman off the table because that was going to probably be my
okay,
number one vote
okay.
actually.
Well,
So
then never mind.
yeah.
I thought it was a softball I could get rid of. I don't know.
No, I love
Oh
Talisman
my
on
gosh,
my iPad. Yeah.
this is the hardest category because because well again I don't because okay, these three, Talisman, Galaxy Trucker, and 80 Days, those are like airplane games for me.
Okay.
And
To get
I
rid of Sentinels, dump it.
okay, you
We're
think
just gonna
so?
make that. Yeah, we're gonna cut
Okay.
it. Just
And
do
I
it. There you go. Then we're gonna narrow
and
this down.
Hearthstone seems so
Uh,
weird to me, but I mean, if we both are loving these three games, Talisman, Galaxy Trucker, and 80 Days, I feel like
well,
that's
you didn't
what
ask
we're
me if I
doing.
was loving 80 days,
Oh, okay. Let's talk about 80 Days.
but I can't not. I mean, I know it's a fantastic game. It's just one that I have not played
Gotten
anymore.
into.
I played it and now I'm done with it, and it's just not something I got back into at all. Probably since 2014. I'm thinking it might be the last time I fired it up. Even
So
though I know they did an expansion last year, I don't know that I fired it up since they did that. So,
So I
um,
recently, I mean, like last trip I was on, I ended up playing it. I don't know. I really like they continue to add new content, which is really
yeah,
interesting. Um, and yeah, I mean, I can see if it just unclicked for sure. The last run I did actually got there on the 80th day, which is pretty
nice,
crazy. I didn't think I was going to get there in time. It was like 11 p.m. It
nice.
was insane, and they still counted it as a win. They're like, "You did it! You got here just in the nick of time." I was like, "Holy crap, that was insane!" But anyway,
Let's, I, okay, let's look at this.
okay, okay,
Hearthstone. Come on, let's just kill Hearthstone. I know it's painful, but we got. It's from like a. They won all the awards last year.
that's true. That's
You
true, and
know,
it's
they're
still a great game.
Blizzard. They don't need our. They don't need our help. They don't like us anyway. They don't talk to us. Screw Hearthstone.
Hey, I think I'm still
And
on
I
their
don't play it
community.
anymore.
Yeah,
So
no, okay, fine. No, yes, it's the only game on this list that I probably play every week still.
you just
But
you do the Tavern Brawl.
yeah, I do the Tavern Brawl almost every week.
Okay.
But
Uh,
I don't,
this is too
but I
much.
feel like a lot of these are much closer to our hearts. I mean, it's like the only one we haven't talked about.
How about instead of best old game then? How about let's not do this as an award because
Okay,
I mean these games have already been up for awards last year and stuff, right? So how about we just do a recommended old games that we still
we still play.
play? I mean, games from 2014 or before, or 2015 and before, or I'm sorry, 2014 and before, I guess, because it's that we
Yeah,
still play and are still awesome. And then we just use them as recommendations so people, because I mean, none of these games deserve to not get played. They're all great. So
yeah. I mean, we haven't really talked about Galaxy Trucker, but that's another game that you
I
could just
didn't think I had to because it's
no,
so
no,
good.
exactly.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm looking at this going, I can't cut Galaxy Trucker because it's still, I think, the best board game I have on my iPad.
Right. Well,
Talisman, I
so
love. I play Talisman a lot because it works so good on. I mean, in digital, it's great because you can play for like 10 minutes and then stop and then come back to it later and play a turn
right.
or two and stop. And it's great. And it just works, even though it's mindless, ridiculous fun. But they keep adding more stuff to it now where you can have expansions around every corner of the board now.
Right.
There's so many cards. There's so much going on in that game that it's just, I find it to be a blast. So,
Yep.
Hearthstone is probably the best game on mobile, period.
And both, I feel like both Galaxy and Trucker and 80 Days are great for just when you, I don't know, want to hop into something for a little while. Again, not
Yeah,
super brain
right.
burning either.
Yeah, that's true. They're more
So,
relaxing and kickback games.
do we want to call it a recommended list? Do we want to make Talisman the winner and just have three runner ups? Or, I don't know.
I don't know. I say we just do recommended, and we say
Okay.
here's all the
Games
awards. We'll just do, here are our awards. Here are the winners and losers. Oh, and here's a bunch of old games that
you should check out.
weren't
We're still
eligible
playing.
for awards this year, but we are still awesome and we're still playing. And um, we could even throw some of the ones we cut off of there, but and put them back on if you wanted to.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have to, but
Forget
I'm
what.
just
Now
saying.
they've been deleted. They're gone
Right? I
forever.
don't
I'm
remember.
just
So,
kidding. Well, we could
um,
definitely throw Sentinels back on there, I think. Um, but okay. All right. That was our decision. That was a
yeah.
hard fought category, but I do think
All
these
right.
four are games that I plan to be playing for a really long time.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of cool that. Um, I mean, mobile's not really, I don't think, associated with games like that you're playing
Right.
2 years after they came out. And all these games are games that I'm going to be playing for a while, and they're still being supported, and they're still being updated, and they're all still, you know, I mean, they're vibrant communities around them and stuff. I think they're all awesome. So,
Yeah.
yep, I think you made the best choice, Brad.
Okay. We
Well
did it
done.
together. So we're gonna have a recommended list. We're also, I guess we can talk about next time. We have a recommended list of things that aren't board games, but we'll talk about that next time, maybe if we have time. Or we'll
Yeah.
just put the list up because I think that's a pretty good list that we have right there. Um, so yeah, thanks for those that tuned in live, and again, this will be up on the site soon as well. So, and then we'll also have written later this week or early next week once I make the cute little images for it. So, um, all right. So I think we're good. Next time we're going to talk about the best board game port, the biggest surprise of 2015, and our games of the year. Now, the reason we separated out best board game port and games of the year is, how do we put it? I think we need to honor the best board game port, but a lot of them may not show up in the games of the year list. I don't know how to put
Yeah, I
that
think we
kindly.
originally, we originally said the game of the year would always be a board game, but I think we're trying to just separate them, and because sometimes
Hedge a little bit.
yeah.
And
So
these are board game ports are games that are actual games you can have on your shelf that also have digital versions, which, something like
right,
Card Crawl, for example, which is very much a board game, could be played, does not have a physical
right,
counterpart. So,
right. Well
all
explained,
right.
Brad. Good job.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens when we post the awards up. But that's a battle for another time. So,
If it doesn't work next year, we'll change all the categories anyway, so that's fine.
yeah,
It doesn't
yeah,
matter. We're
exactly.
good.
Yeah, we make the rules, so we can do what we want. All right,
That's
and
right.
if you're looking for community voting, we're going to put it in Golden Geek this year, I believe. So I'm working with Aldi on that. So hopefully that will happen. We always talk about it, and then I always forget to talk in time to him. So anyway,
Great.
we'll see.
All right.
All right, thank you so much, Dave, and for everyone tuning in.
Yep. See you
Okay,
on
see you
Thursday.
on Thursday. All right,
All
bye.
right. Bye.